right. Welcome. So let's do the normal of making sure you guys see my screen and also hear me fine. That's going to be obviously an important element here. So if someone in chat can let me know as far as on my side it's looking good. Hello, Shane. Hello. Max on VFX. So I'm on. So it sounds like you guys can hear me okay, right? Everyone's good to go. As I rearrange again some stuff here just so I can get my Cintiq down. All right. I'm going to put this down here. Give me some room. Got my handy dandy reference for this, you know, right there. What are they? This is going to happen. We're going to get this X-Wing finished. Dang it. That's going to happen. We're getting close. We're getting close to the prize here. Very close. Oh, you know what? I need to check on something. For some reason, this pen has stopped working. Hold on, I want to try a different pen. That pen... Let's see. I don't know why my pen stopped working. Let's see. Yeah. This is not working. None of my pens are working. So that means something's going on here. Hold on. Okay, yes, sounds good. Okay, thanks, Shane. How is everybody doing? Again, as always, I'm here to answer any questions that you might have, too, in the world of ZBrush. For me, I'm just working on this project. Again, I'm trying to get this up and running so that I can have a little battle scene above me above me here in this little office that I have. So that's what I'm working on. Let's see. I got to figure out why the tablet now, or the Cintiq, is not working with my pen real quick. Because I definitely want that to be working. Yep, go figure. You would want that to work. Let's see. This is probably... It sees the pen, which is interesting. But then it's not actually recognizing the pen, which is interesting. So none of my pens will work. So I don't know if there's a... Hold on. Excuse my movement here quick. I want to see if something came unplugged on me. Might be a bigger problem than we anticipated. I don't know. I might just have to go with. I'm gonna have to use a mouse and do all the. We'll work on this stuff in the background here. Okay. All right. Well, we'll make it happen. So, what we're doing here is we are working on this X-Wing. I think I've got everything now. The sizing is pretty much. I'm probably gonna make the wings bigger. But I really, again, for those that maybe are joining for the first time, I'm kind of going in a workflow that I like to use where I like to block things out a little bit, making sure I have my proportions and everything correct before I start diving into making everything come to life. So these painted lines are in essence a lot of the scribe lines that I have for my X-Wing. So that's kind of what I did the last stream. And now I'm going to, and then we did all these little pieces here, which are your greeble, that aren't really what they look like. So, but they are relatively close to what they look like. And now I'm going to start making these all look right. And then we'll start making all the scribe lines on here as well. Okay, so we're going to start with the back. I'm going to just start going at the back here. Start making that look right. Looking good. I'm going to bring in the texture too. You know what? Let's bring in the image that I have. I've been saving. Wait, actually, I think I saved that as a spotlight last time. It's been a while. Let me see. I think I did. Yeah, there it is. There we go. Okay. Good, just so we always know what we're trying to make, what we're going for. I think it's cool. It's good. I'm just using Spotlight as a image referencer. And again, for me, I am using a physical object here, right, as kind of like my reference as well. So it just comes in handy for me to really start working on that and doing that. So we're going to start now making some details happen here. That's kind of what I want to do. So let's start it off. Okay, so let's just start with these back portions. Okay, and so we got this nicely in a folder here. So you can see I got that in a folder right there. I'm not going to be able to bring my monitor so forward to me because now I need to use my mouse because my pen is busted. It won't. So I'm trying to. So as far as camera-wise goes, hold on. Let's make a camera adjustment. I do have it on an arm. Oh, you guys are seeing. Oh no. Oh, there we go. That way I can look. Let's see. We're making some adjustments on the fly here. Now you'll see another part of my room. Okay, there. Good, right? So now you guys can see me. Audio's good still? Everything's still good, yes? Okay. So let's get going on this. Some of these pieces now, we're going to start making them separate and branching off, right? Making them their own pieces for sure. So I'm going to start with the big red piece. It just makes the most sense right now to start with that. So I'm just kind of looking at my reference really quick, seeing what kind of, I see some interesting change to this a little bit that I didn't notice before. This is again why I like having a physical item here. Whoops, pieces that fell off again. This thing is hurting. This thing's in pieces. All right. And then, you know, we've always got our moments of Lisa needs braces moments, right? Okay. We still got all that stuff. Okay, so I'm going to now separate some stuff here. Let's go ahead and split this off, I guess, for now. We'll call that, yeah, that's the main portion. Let's go Z Modeler. We're going to need an edge loop. So I'm going to insert an edge loop here. Right about, it looks like right about there, I want to say. I'm going to say right about, close to that. So let's slide that down. I think that's too high. So again, spacebar, slide, complete edge loop. And then now I can slide. I think it's going to sit more there. And what I want, in essence, I want these top vertexes right here. These vertexes right here. I notice now in my reference that this needs to actually taper in. So we're going to taper this in. It needs to sit more like that. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and crease these. So crease, complete edge loop. And then now I can crease this. All right. I think it's a little too soft. So let's insert an edge loop with symmetry on. Let's start making this be a little bit more harsh with this. I don't want so much. Let's come into here. Let's go right here. And let's add another one here. I think we'll go there. Okay. I don't like how soft that is. And now looking at this, this is also ginormous. So we don't need this to be this deep. Even though I'm going to 3D print this, I don't need it that deep. That's a little bit too much. I don't need it going that deep. So I tend to, you know, when do I see it? And then now go back in, and then I'd say somewhere around there. Okay, we'll solo this out. Then I'm going to now insert, again, an edge. And, okay, so what do I want it to follow? Do I want to follow? Here's something I'm going to turn on and off so you guys can see this. I see a question coming through. I'm going to come to you. Don't you worry. So when I insert an edge loop, you can see that when I'm getting closer to where there's kind of a different profile, the insert edge is trying to replicate that. When I get closer to the other side of the profile, you can see my insert edge is trying to get straight. But it's still getting an averaging of, you know, this profile and then the straight profile, right? When I'm inserting an edge. So if I want this inserted edge to be perfectly straight, where you click actually matters. So what we did is If you click closer to this profile over that profile, like right here, so I'm going to click here, and now if I hold the shift key, you can see now it only will make that perfectly parallel to this profile. So then obviously if I come closer to this profile and then hold the shift key, you can see it's making that parallel to that. And this is kind of, I think, where I want to live, because then I want this just get a little bit more sharp like that. Like I want this shape to have a little bit more of that look to it than having such a very soft look, because it is more of a hard surface piece. So I kind of want that look to have happening here, okay? I'm also, as we're going to go, I'm going to be doing save next, which is, again, this is one of those, look up here, look up, look up, look up, look up here, look up here, right, moments, okay? Up here, there's a save next in the tool palette. This is now because I've loaded this file from a particular folder. It's just going to keep saving automatically for me this tool to that same folder, and then just automatically adding to the abbreviations. So what I mean by that is here, if I show you guys the hard drive that I have this on, hold on, let me get to it so you guys can get an idea. So you can do this for tools or projects, and for me, this is the only way I work. I do not work with saving over top a file. I think that's a dangerous thing to do, personally. And then there's times, I can't tell how many times I've been on a production and then they're like, hey, you know that one you did last week or a month ago? Like, you can pull stuff up a lot easier, right? So this is what's going to happen. Okay, so we've done it up to 100. So in essence, the most iterations you can go is 999, which I've never even come close to 200. So you can see all my saves. This is what save next is doing. It just keeps saving the same name, underscore, and then it just keeps adding 54, 55, 56, blah, blah, blah. Right? So you can even see that when I started on this thing, which was so long ago, then the file size getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, you can see everything here, right? So that is something you can do. So you can do it also in the, if you go to file, you also have it here with the save as, and save next. These are project saving, which is .zpr, and this is your tool saving. So for this project, I'm just saving tools. So I'm going to use that save next. And again, you can assign your own hotkey to that and just click it, right? Okay, so the question came through. Let me look at the question, and then we'll get going again on this piece. I kind of want to, that I noticed something else. It feels like to me, we'll see. It's hard to tell. Maybe not. Maybe. Okay, maybe. I think I might do that. All right, sorry. I just caught something. If you may ask, what is the situation? Okay, the AI question you're throwing at me, yeah? I don't like to dive too much into AI. I think it's something you got to pick and choose of, do you want to just add it in your workflow? I think, okay, for me, I just think art, and why I even do some of this is, I want to say that I created this. I want to go along the journey of the discovering, and I want to challenge my mind, my artistic ability, and so I enjoy the process of making something from nothing to what we're doing now, right? This is just a personal preference that I enjoy. Okay, so for me, I don't see myself ever changing that because I'm also old now, and want to do it. But does that mean maybe you don't want to use AI? You could use AI for sure to do certain things for you. I think you can use AI to do some discoveries, do some things to figure stuff out. I think that's where it comes in, and I think you got to decide now, do you want to use completely mostly AI, or do you want to just kind of use it more as a tool that supports you and supports your journey? And maybe there's just things that are really fast that you could do in AI that just helps you, maybe even it's coming up with a concept or something like that, like things like that, and referencing and ideas. I think that's where you can live. You got to make a choice now. And will AI completely 100% replace us? I don't personally think so, no, because directors never know what they want half the time, or they do, and then they're sitting there, they're so particular about the design or the look that you need an artist. You need a person to be engaged with that person too in general, or there's just certain things like, again, yeah, I want to be able to be the one that created it, and then there's copyright things that are going to come into play as well. So that's, I would say, is something I don't think it's going to be 100% replacement. It's just another tool that you could use or not use. Is it going to 100% replace what we do and everything? I don't think so. No, I personally don't think so. But again, these are personal opinions. None of this is pertaining to me working for ZBrush or Maxon, FYI. This is just my personal opinion. Yeah. So I think you got to. I personally would think, honestly, being in the CG world and being that you're all trying to, like, to your point, trying to make money on CG for sure. I would not just completely ignore AI. I would go look and see what it's doing, kind of stay on top of what's going on, just so you're in the know, just so you have the information, and then you can or you cannot use it, make those decisions, and that's again another thing that's up to you. What's up, CG Frogy? Was it Frogy? Kadori, I don't know if that answered completely your question, because I can't say. I don't know where the future's holding us, right? So honestly, but I'm watching it, I'm monitoring it, and seeing what's going on for sure. Like, I want to pay attention to it. Okay, let's keep going. Let me know if that kind of helped. I don't know. I say try not to get stuck in the rabbit hole of just looking at only AI, right? Really just stay true. Be an artist. Just keep pushing yourself to discover things and try things, right? Just, that's the biggest thing I would tell you. Just keep that going. Keep that passion alive that you mentioned. All right, let's go. We're going to need, okay, some cylinders. So I'm going to now start, I'm going to make a start group here. I'm going to start doing that. And then we'll make this a start group. No, we don't want that a start group, sorry. Okay, and let's now duplicate this. Let's rename this. I'm going to name this Back Greeble Cuts or Subs, whatever. Sub, that just made me hungry though, saying sub. Not going to lie. I'm starting to get hungry. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm making a copy. So I'm going to come out of symmetry. I'm going to center this on this cube piece. I'm just making another version of this, okay? And I'm going to replace this now. I'm going to replace it. I'm going to come in the gear. I'm going to say, give me a cylinder now instead. So now I've got this cylinder. It's way too big right now, and I don't need a lot of spans this direction. So I'm going to go with literally no spans. I'm going to make this be itty bitty bitty bitty, or a little bit smaller, something more like around that range for now. I also want to add some creasing on this because I do want it to look a little bit different. So again, I'm just going to solo this out so we can kind of focus on this a little bit here. So I'm going to go with, let's creasing it. So I'm going to crease these edges so that when I dynamically smooth it, we get this option. All right. And then I'm going to say, let's put this down here. All right. And it's going to need to be a little bit more smaller than this. I'm going to say more in this range for us. Okay. And then I'm going to just push it over here. Let's go right about, I'm going to hold the shift key actually. Let's put this back. When I move this, I'm going to hold the shift key. I'm going to go 0.04 over. And then now let's push this all the way into here. And we're going to need it a lot wider, a lot deeper, something like this. Okay. And then now I've got live Boolean on up on the top, right? And then I'm going to come and tell this now to be a subtractive. This is why I'm calling it a sub, because I want it to cut into the surface like this is what I want. Okay, and I'm going to have some fun with this now. I'm going to add a little bit of other contextual things to this. So here, I'll do this. Again, I'm going to do bevel. Again, this is where you probably want to start saving presets, right? This is huge. I think this is one of the biggest additions we've done to ZModeler the last year or so, is making these presets available. So it's huge. So again, if I want a bevel preset, now while I'm holding spacebar, I click this. I can say now bevel, and then now save it. Okay, and then now when I hold spacebar, I get my presets. And then this one, I'm going to move it up. I'm going to keep moving it up. You know what? I'm going to keep going to the top. I'm going to keep it there. Okay. So then this is my option. So now I can bevel this. I'm going to do this. Then you can see I want to crease, complete edge loop. Then I can crease, right? And now I'm living in my menu of ZModeler a little bit now, right? I find this a lot faster, especially for me, that when I want to work on the iPad, also, I really like this. Okay, and then now you can come in here and say, hey, you know what? I want to add this. So I want to add a crease complete edge loop, right? And then now save that. And then now we've got that there, right? So I'm going to say that because I want, the more I think about it, I'm really adding something like, do we really need it? Like, is my print really going to see this? Right? I just wanted a little bit of a, right there, a bevel right there. Okay? And then now I want to continue going with this. So I want more of these. I want 3 more this way, and then I want another 3 on the other side. Okay, so I see some questions that came through. Okay, hold on. That would be useful, but in general. Okay. Okay, how do I set up the image of the X-Wing in the top left? Okay, let's go with that question first. I am using Spotlight, like Nick Tyler is bringing up. So that's what I used, and I turned it into a referencing tool, right? So this is Spotlight, okay? And I'd want the opacity probably all the way up on this one. So it's just an image I can add. So you guys can add images either through the alpha palette, okay, here. So you would select an alpha, or in the texture palette, you select a texture. Okay, so the ZModeler brush, we've turned off the ability to have an alpha and texture because you don't need it. So you just I gotta switch to a brush that can actually accept alphas and textures. So then that way, if I want to add an image, right? Let's just click on this because it's super bright and super rainbowy. Right here is your on and off for Spotlight. Okay, so you can see I can turn it on and off. So when you start, it'll be like this. This is an anti-aliasing. So do you want to apply an anti-alias to the image when it gets added to Spotlight? This is a transparency option. So it's something that's pure black. If you have this turned on, then when it gets added to Spotlight, the pure black will be transparent. And then this is your on, like add to Spotlight. Okay, so you would start normally like this. And then I would just say click this, and then the image would get plopped dead center. And now this is Spotlight. And then you can move it wherever you want. You can scale it, you can rotate it, you can edit the image, you can do a lot with Spotlight. Spotlight is about, there in essence, 4 things. It's about using it for a referencing tool, which I'm using it for. It's about using it as a painting tool because you can project the textures to your model and use it as poly paint. It's also a sculpting tool where you can use the images to sculpt with. And it's a mesh creating tool. You can actually create 3D meshes from Spotlight. Okay, and once you do this, if I want to use it as a referencing tool, then I can't keep the ability of projection on. I want to turn that off. And since it's a sculptural thing that you're doing, that I'm painting or I'm texturing, okay, I want the brush system to not pay attention to that. So in the brush palette, I'm going to come here and in samples, there's a button right here that says Spotlight Projection. You'd want to turn this off. And then now this is what's going to make ZBrush turn Spotlight and do just a referencing tool. So these images can be scattered all over the document space, wherever you want, but they won't be projected onto the surface, whether it be sculpting or painting. Okay, so, and I don't want this rainbow image, so I'm going to kill it. And then now to come out of this mode, so there's 2 modes of Spotlight. There's edit the image mode and gives you this dial. And then there's, okay, now just continue on using ZBrush to sculpt with. So the Z key is what you can come in and out of the edit mode, but the button for that, in case you really want to know, is right here in the transform. So this is the button for it. Okay, so that's all I did. So just like Nick had brought up, that's what I did. Cool? So are you making... I'm not making a game asset. I'm making an asset for 3D printing. I'm planning to print this out. I'm probably around this size, like to my face. Probably a little bit bigger. I'm gonna make them floating above me in this office. I've already done the TIE fighter. I've got some prints, right? So like here's the wings of the TIE fighter that I did. And it's in like 3 pieces. So like probably maybe something around this size where this one's at is what I'm going to do, right? And then I haven't decided. I got different sizes here, but it's not crazy long to print it. And then also I can print any size I want. That's the beauty of having your own 3D printer, right? It's the beauty of it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm making an asset more for 3D printing. So I've already done the TIE fighter. I've already 3D printed it multiple times, so that's done. I'm just now doing the X-Wing. And maybe I'll do a quick Death Star, just so I have a Death Star off in the distance or something like that. I'll show you guys once I have it all done. I hope. Once I have it all done. Oh, man. Sculpts just go to the graveyard for me so often. I need a them saying for that. A sculpt, graveyard sculpts, you know. Sometimes I revive them. Okay. Get to the chopper. I love it. Okay. Speaking of how do I create a chamfer, been fighting ZBrush for iPad past 2 days trying to do this. Okay, a chamfering, we really don't have low polygon way to do it. On the desktop version, we can use Bevel Pro. And that can easily do it. You can also sculpturally do it, or there is some techniques with ZModeler. So I'll show you. Let's just do it. Let's just do some simple things here, okay? On this. So let's just first start really simple with the cube, okay? Just so you can get the idea. Okay, there is sculpturally things that you could do to do this, if you wanted, because again, we're a sculpting app, so there's stuff that you could do with this. So if I divide this up a little bit, so we just get right out the gate, you get a chamfer. Right? So you're going to get this because the model has to be divided. So when you go from this, we got to add edges and vertexes. So you're automatically going to get a rounding here. So let's switch to a different cube. Let's switch to this cube. All right. And let's size this up a lot more. Okay. And then let's actually make this have no spans of topology. Okay, so really get this thought. This is a cube right now, but when I divide, it's going to become a sphere. Because everything now has to be divided and then it's brought together, right? So if you start to think about this, if I switch to ZModeler, and we'll just stay in this, insert, and if I insert this, and then another edge loop here, now when I divide, this is going to stay completely different, right? So you can see this profile is different than any of the other profiles anywhere else now. Okay, and then now that there's actually edge loops, you're getting different things happening. So you can use edge loops and then divide to do this is one way to go about that, okay? Now, if we divide this up, so now let's add some topology back here. All right, good enough. So if we divide this up, we have 2 brushes called Bevel Arc and Bevel Flat. These brushes will work on sculpted meshes. So you can say, hey, I want a different chamfer. I can click here, and then now you can chamfer this. So what I normally do is go with a really large brush size, and then now you can just sculpturally do this. Now, the only drawback to these particular brushes is they are camera plane. They are only going to work along a flat surface. So if you have anything kind of going around or taking a bend, these brushes are only like A to B. They're linear, like A to B. They can't go along a curve, right? So, but it can give you this ability. And in a lot of cases, some hard surfaces, you are dealing with just along a certain particular area, right? Okay. So another thing then, if you did want to work with low topology here, so if we switch back to ZModeler, it's not going to be the fastest way, but it's probably a little bit more what you are looking for. So when you're hovering over a face, you can do a bridge. And instead of 2 polygons, you do connecting polygons. And you can either do by a tangent or by a normal. Okay, so I'm going to keep by tangent. And so now I can click, and now I can do this. And then this is adding a chamfer to just these two polygons. So this orange line that I'm going to go with a smaller draw size, and let's go with a different, there we go. That orange line that you see when I'm moving, that says, hey, this face you're gonna delete. What other face do I want to delete? And then what we do is delete the two faces and then add a chamfering, and then we close off the sides automatically. So ZBrush does not allow n-gons because you can't sculpt on an n-gon, really. It's not really a good thing to sculpt on. So we don't allow them right now. So what you could do, technically, right, with this, is when you click and do this, you could do that, and then if you just keep tapping now, we'll continue that last action. And now if you see these little leftovers, this is because the brush has welding in it, because the brush is doing multiple things. It's deleting faces, it's chamfering and creating new faces, and welding, right? It's doing multiple things at once. So in your preferences, what you might want to play with, and you have the control of this, under geometry, there is a Z-Molder tolerance here, right? So I can raise this to 25 as an example, and now maybe when I tap, see now I don't have, so in essence, in this scenario, you would want to now, you have to go down, keep tapping, tapping, tapping. Like if you want the actual topology to have a chamfering in it, this is what you can do. But you're going to be left with this at the very end, because again, we don't allow n-gons. So this is where I could switch to delete. I'd say flat island, then delete, and now that's gone, and then delete, and now that's gone. Well, I would only want to delete a single face here, right? And then now you have this hole, and now you can close, and then I can tap, and then it's closed, right? This is really low polygon-wise. You could do something like this. That's a lot of clicks, though, right? Quite a few clicks. The other thing, if you didn't have as many spans, if we went back to like this, and let's say we had an edge loop here and an edge loop here, okay? So this you can align also in ways too. You have the ability here in edge, and you can align things this way too. So it's not giving me what I would want. So you would click this edge, and then see you could do this, and you can align between those edges, right? So we could, let's see, if you want to insert, and then now switch back to align, click one edge, click this edge, and see now it aligns. And then this is the other thing, then you're creating something like this, right? But you only really need this edge, right? Because if I click here and click here, this is going to also create that for me, and things like this. And when it divides, this is already got, because we're going to live in a life of dividing up, because then we're going to sculpturally do things. So these are just some examples of things that you can do. The best one is going to be Bevel Pro. That's going to be the best way to quickly add a chamfering. But I would do it on a little bit more dense mesh. I wouldn't do it on low polygon, because it's going to create triangles. Okay? So the bridging faces is one way. These are just multiple ways. And again, yes, this is on something really simple. I get it, but I'm just trying to keep it simple so you can wrap your heads around it. So does that help? Where was that question? Is there your rank? Okay. Okay. Hold on, I'm just checking the question. Okay, okay, so that was 35, 3D, 542. Okay, let me know. I'm still here for another hour at least. A lot of functions. Okay, wait, hold on. Nick, I'm reading what you're saying. Hold on. Nick, you're saying, hey, Spotlight has a lot of functions. And by the way, tooltips on all those buttons are not working good. I mean, when you hover over cursor button, it doesn't what it button doing. Wait, I think you're trying to say it doesn't do what the button is doing. So wait, can you run this by me again? Here, let me do this. So when you scroll, when you click, this is when you see what the buttons are doing. The hovering is not. You're gonna have to click now. I got to get the hover fixed. Looks like the hovering. So it should say like, so any one of these I click, what it's doing. So like I'm mirroring that right now, right? These do. So if there's one in particular that you're not saying it does what it's supposed to do, let me know when that is. Put it in the chat and we can cover it and making sure we are good to go on that. Okay? Let me know which one you find that, hey, this isn't working right. At least to what your knowledge is of what you're thinking for sure. Okay? So I know. Let's do that. Okay. Sorry, my phone is spam phone calls. Bleh. Okay. No, it's not hard to make a mesh for 3D printing for thickness. No, ZBrush has an option you can do it easily to make it a thickness. So that's easy. It's not that difficult. We'll get to it once I get to something 3D printing. You're building an old school metal gas can via Z model. I'll be trying edge loop and in subdividing method. Okay, got it. All right. Another question. Hey, Paul, a strange question. Well, I love strange questions because we all know I'm a little crazy. Okay. How do I move from hotkeys the thingy which appears when I press space? I'm going to assign the space hotkey for a menu, but that little thingy still appears. One hotkey and one to remove it from the original one. How? Space only to menus and not single brushes. Okay, wait. You're talking about when you hold spacebar this, right? I'm assuming you're talking about spacebar. If you're talking about this, you can't turn spacebar off from showing this when you're got a sculpting brush or something selected. It is hard coded. You can't turn it off. It's something I would have to go change in the code to get done so that it's not hard coded anymore, and that way you guys can do it. So if this is the menu you're talking about, you can't turn spacebar off for this. It's the same thing when you're selecting something. Spacebar is your move, right? You can't change that. That's hard coded in essence, okay? But the menu, if that's what you're talking about, that's called the quick menu, is what we call that. It's in the preferences, and then you can assign a different hotkey to it. Hold on, let me wrap my hand around it again. Where did we put this? Is it in draw? No. It's... Wow. My brain farting is happening. No. New history miscellaneous. No. I thought it was an edit. Did we put it in edit? No. Why am my brain not working today? Transparency, no. No, it should be in interface. Miscellaneous. Here you go, miscellaneous. So here, this is the quick menu. Do you want floating menus? And this is what you're doing. Okay, so this is the menu that's being called, the spacebar menu. It's that button that's being called. So you can't change that. You can't, if that's what you're asking. And that's a no if you're asking that. Yeah, Nick, I saw that. I got to get that fixed. That hover state itself is not working. We got to get that fixed. So I don't know if that's what you're asking. You can't change it. And you can't edit it. You can't remove parts. You can on the iPad. The iPad version, we allowed you up to 5 of those menus. You can add any settings you want to from any of the palettes that you want. So if you wanted, you make your own version of that, which what I would do. So I would make your own and make your own hotkey. Do you know how to make your own floating menu? I guess. Let me ask you that. Do you know how to do that? I'll let you answer because obviously I'm ahead of talking than what you guys are. Okay, yes, you know. Okay. I would do that. I would make your own little palette menu that you can call, and then that's what I would. It's something we'll have to look, down the line, especially since we're allowing it on the iPad version. This is something we'll now experiment and see how we would allow that on the desktop and what we want to do moving forward. Okay, can I modify something? Okay, right. Bridge two faces. Okay, oh, yeah. I am an immigrant. Okay, from Blender. I am new to the country. I look forward to learning your language. Oh, okay, great. 353D542. Awesome. Thanks for joining us. Really happy to have you. I can't discuss anything about what we're doing for the UI right now. We'll hopefully be letting you guys have an update on things around with that, and I can't discuss any upcoming features or anything that we're working on, unfortunately. But if you're staying tuned, we're always doing stuff and showing things off, and especially if you're following us on our social media, we will make announcements there and show things there. So I would recommend that too. On our Facebook groups page, that's the ZBrush group page, and then on our Instagram, we're always posting stuff there too. ZBrush for iPad. Okay. So ZBrush for iPad, okay, for Blender people. No, our courses are free. We don't sell any courses. Like anything we do video-wise, that's all free. We put it on our YouTube channel that you're on right now. There's a ton of stuff. All the streams are there. I'm not the only one that streams on this channel. There's artists from all over different types of industries that stream on this. That is definitely something you could do as well. But any courses too we have on cineversity.com, that's all free. We don't charge for that, actually. None of it's free. And then iPad itself, there is a free version, so you can just start sculpting in it. You can export from it, and you still get some of the main features as well. Like Live Boolean is there, Dynamesh is there, Sculptris Pro is there. There are some other limitations. There's not as many brushes, and a lot of the other features aren't there. And then if you're just wanting to do iPad only, US dollar wise, it's $10 a month, so $9.99 a month. And if you want to do it yearly, annually, US dollar it's $89.99 a year, is what the prices are. So just to give you an idea. But as far as video goes wise, no, we don't charge for any of that. So, and then you're talking to a developer. I've been a part of the development team for 18 years. I'm the head of development in a way. I'm the product manager for ZBrush. So I'm part of the team that decides what goes into ZBrush, what features we want to try and do, what we're going to do, talk to studios, and I'm all over the place. So there you go. Okay. Hopefully that helps give you some ideas. Okay. So this little cylinder, I want copies of them. So anytime I want copies of them, array mesh is exactly what I want to do. So I'm going to go in array mesh. I really like to use the transpose line to be my GUI for array mesh. So I'm going to repeat 3 total, and then I'm just going to pick the gap that I want. I'm going to say I'm going to go that. I'm going to do an append new. So I'm going to make another stage of this. Okay. Let's reset it. Okay, in a way like this. And let's see. Let's mirror it over the X. And now I've got the other side, because I want a bigger gap in the middle, but different gaps on the left and right. So I want that. And then now, if I switch back to the gizmo, I can even play with the sizing of this. So I'm going to center this and go, okay, I think they're a little too big, so I'm going to go a little bit smaller with them. I'm going to live more in that world with them. I don't know if I want to go this deep either, just because, again, I'm 3D printing. So why make more supports than need be? Okay, I'm gonna live in that realm right there. Okay, I'm okay with that. I dig it. Okay, then I'm going to. All right, we need. I think we'll make this be part of it. Why not? Let's go back to this little guy here. I'm going to turn on polyframe. And I'm going to insert an edge loop. I'm going to automatically put creasing on this as well. let's for now delete this edge loop, and I'm going to put one there, and I'm going to put one there, right there, and then I'm going to put another one right there. That's too much. Okay, let's go and let's make sure. Okay, so let's just look at this like this so I can see everything. I think that's, no, that's too wide. So let's slide this over. Let's go more in that world. Okay, and then I am going to use transpose. I'm going to use transpose because this face is on an angle. Okay, so if I use a Q mesh, so if we go Q mesh and do a single, this is going to be on an angle. And I want it to follow this direction. So I'm going to use transpose. And then I'm going to click on this. And now every other face is masked off but this. And so I'm going to go to the side. I'm going to hold the Alt key, click on this little reset, and now it resets this. And we don't use our gizmo just to do move, scale, and rotating. If I hold the Control key and then click on this arrow, I can extrude. And this is what I want. I want an extrusion out. And then I'm even going to use this, and I want this extrusion out to be perfectly straight. Okay, so I can do this to it. I can even hold the Control key and do this as well as a clip, right? So what I mean by that, if I do this and now I hold Control, see, I can clip it to this as well. So I'm gonna live around there with this. Okay, I want that little nub happening there. Okay, let's turn this off so then we got this happening. I'm gonna say, you know what? I kind of don't like this. Let's play with this a little bit. So I'm gonna mask those points off. Hold the Alt key. So I'm gonna come out of the smoother version of this. Hold the Alt key, click on this point, click on that point, and now I can move these faces, right? So I want all of these. So this is me holding just only the Alt key. I want all of those unmasked. So I can do, say, something like this. I want this to be bigger. So I want those masked. I just want this moved. I want that to be bigger. Okay, and then now I want this. Let's move right to here. And once again, see, I can clip it out. And then now I got that straight. I'm going to go more in this realm. I want it to be a little bit bigger. Okay, something like this. That works fine for me. Okay, I like that. Doing something like this. Okay, that's better. I want that sticking out. Maybe not so much now. Now I can use Q mesh. Okay, so now I can click on this face, go Q mesh, single polygon, and see it'll always come out. But I'm going to hold the Shift key because I kind of want to just stick out a little bit like this. I'm going to have it stick out just a little bit like that. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm good to go. Let's move on. Let's not live in this world forever here. Okay. Then we have two. So I want now also, let's go into this. So we got a center point, right? So I'm going to insert and create creasing. So I want something to live there. Let's say there. And something to live there. And that's going to be right below the circles. Okay. Then I want another one there. Good. Then I'm going to go with, okay, let's see. All right. I think, yeah, we're going to go also make another one, like right about there. And then I want another one there. And what I'm going to do now is these come out just a little bit. And then these, oops, once again, these, I'm going to do the transpose option. So I'm going to move over a face, transpose, tapping, Automatically mask off. Okay. I'm going to flip this, so reset it, extrude out, and then control key, flatten it, and I want this to just be a little extrude again as well. So I have something like this. Okay, I want these two polygroups. Let's crease all of this. Whoops. Let's do a crease all. So I have something more like that. Okay, so then now we have something like this. Ooh. Let's just go with there. That looks good. All right, and then now there's a shape that I want to do here. Okay, so this, I'm satisfied where this is, so I'm going to accept this because I don't want to do any more rain, but I want to keep using this subtool as kind of making subtractions and Boolean options here. So I'm going to commit this. So I'm going to say, let's commit the first stage, no extrusion, make it a mesh, and then make it a mesh. So now array mesh is gone. So these are actually real topology now. We're going to get rid of the array mesh part of it. Okay, hold on. I'm just catching up, see if I missed a question. Okay, great. Okay. Just catching up in your questions. All right. Okay, so let's make another piece. This is why I want to do this, because I'm going to take this now, right? And I am going to make something else here. So here, we'll just solo this out so you guys can see what I'm doing. Holding control, clicking on this makes a copy. I'm going to get rid of this and make a cube, which is massive compared to those little cylinders. So let's size it down. Let's go probably about that big. Sure, that's good enough. Whoops, cancel. Let's look at this. All right, I definitely don't want all the spans for sure. Don't want this. Don't want this. Don't want this. I want that instead. And then now I'm going to crease these. Crease by the angle. Let's go Z modeler. Let's turn on symmetry. Let's do a Q mesh. And then I'm going to do something that's long like this. And then I want to have, like, make a T in essence, like this. And then now let's just crease by an angle. And then this is what I want. And then now this is going to sit somewhere else. And I only want one of them. I'm going to go about there. I'm going to go here. Okay. And then now push it in. And here I'll turn off the polyframing so we can watch this be generated. So I'm going to live right about, I think, that depth is good. And then it just needs to be deeper. Somewhere around in that world. I think it's too big as well. So I'm going to size this way down. I don't like how big this is. Something like that. Okay, and then I'm going to do one extra thing here. Although because we're on an angle, right? So here, let's go to view 4. Let's turn this on and this on. And now view 4, we're looking at this. And then let's turn this off and this off in view 4. So we're only looking at these things, these elements. Okay, and we got an angle here. Let's see what we can do here. All right, let's solo this out. Let's go ahead, insert with creasing, let's insert an edge loop here. Let's insert an edge loop here. Then here, let's QMesh polyloop it. And then, but hold shift when we're doing that. And then now this one, I think we need a lot more. Let's slide this. So we just get a beveling surface in here, something like this. I think will work for me. Okay, and I'm gonna take these and let's just move these up a little bit more. Well, let's make sure, wait, do I have symmetry on? Let's do local. Oh, it's because it's way over here, and yeah, I know what I'm doing. I gotcha. All right, so let's go here. Let's go here. Let's play with this silhouette a little bit. So let's just bring these up a little more in that realm. Okay, so this is the part that's not going to work the best, but we'll see what we can get here. And then now we'll do like this. Yeah, I'm not getting what I want. I might just do it because I'm getting some stuff there. You know what, we'll just use, I'm just going to use Bevel Pro. We'll just keep it like this for now. And let's add some more topology in here. Let's insert multiple edge loops. Whoops. Let's not, let's keep the groups, same groups. Let's do something like that, just so it's got a little bit more volume topology in there. There. We'll do that. We got that, we got that. Okay. Good there, good there, good there. Some of this stuff is just, it's so tiny that I'm just going to start doing my own thing here. Okay, let's do an insert. Let's do a Boolean. I see a question coming through. Give me a minute. Okay, so we want to be on the Boolean surface, which we are. And I'm going to grab this guy. And let's symmetrically, oops. What do we got here? Don't want to locally do it. Let's draw out these. And then this is going to sit more there. I sit close to the center for sure. And at the top. So let's go a little bit smaller. And have it sit here. Let's have it sit there. Let's see, how's my angle? Angle's not that bad. Okay. All right, I will take it, I think. Maybe a little bit smaller. Let's go a little bit smaller. Let's turn on local for this with no dynamic. Let's go a little bit smaller. Let's live more right here. And I want it to be like that. Okay, perfect. All right. Let's go ahead and let's make a version of this as well. Let's duplicate this and let's now center. And then I'm going to use the gizmo ability. I'm going to grab the model kit one. Let's do a save. I haven't saved in a while. And now I'm going to replace this with any one of these that I click here, right? And then now these is more of an additive item. So we'll center this. Let's rotate this 180 degrees. There we go. And then this sits up here. It's a lot, whoops, it's a lot smaller. Let's go around that size. And then put it right about there. Okay, and let's see kind of where they decided to put this. It's about pretty close to where I put it. It's even a little bit bigger for them. I'll go a little bit bigger. Okay, and I get, do I want that one or do I want this one? Like, which one do I want? I kind of like that one. So you can pick and choose now which one you want, right? I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to stick with that one. Okay, that's good. And so now I have, let's rename this. Greeble back. Let's call this add. Okay, and that's additive items. Jin, I can't say what we're gonna do if and what or how we're gonna do anything with AI. Couldn't tell you. Unfortunately, I can't share any news that's going on right now. Hopefully soon, eventually, I can share some stuff that we're working on with you guys. But right now, I can't, though, unfortunately. Wish I could. Let's see. I'm working to improve my 3D artist portfolio. Could you point me to 2 to 3 examples you consider hireable for a 3D artist and what makes them strong in your eyes? Are you trying to be a character artist? You're trying to be an environment artist? You're trying to do film? You're trying to do games? Trying to do toys? What are you trying to get into? That's going to be crucial. Okay? Because, you know, there's different artists then for different things for sure. Okay, let's do that. All right, and then now I don't want local. Let's look at, I want to take a cubic shape. I don't want to vent. I might have to make one. There might not be a good one here to use. No, machine parts isn't going to have any. I mean, gun. Maybe there's something in the gun. No. No. Okay, so I'm just going to insert a cube. Let's take a cube. All right, let's insert that. This is the cube. Let's Z-modeler it. Let's just solo this out. I'm going to hold Alt. I don't want these spans right now of edge loops. Let's get rid of those. I definitely want it to crease so it looks more squared shape. All right, and then I'm going to Q-mesh, single poly. Let's go out like here. And then let's tap. Do the same thing on the other side. We are going to crease this. And then I am going to say this, and this, and this are unmasked. Hey, might as well do a quick save too. And let's pull this down. I want to do something more like that. And then let's take these. And let's center it based upon this. And let's make them a lot more skinnier. Something like that. Okay, do I want to insert a single edge halfway crease? Let's do that, that, that. And then let's do that. I think I might have a little more fun with this actually. Let's have a little more fun with this. Let's get rid of this for now. Let's take these faces and let's do an inset on these. So we get something like this. Tapping Alt keys, changing my polygroups. Then I'm going to do a Q-mesh, polygroup all. I'm going to do this, but I'm going to pull it out so it creates that. And then let's just crease all this. So then we get something more like that. Let's just add a little bit of something there. Okay, and then now we're going to do this. These need to be a lot smaller. So let's now do local with no dynamic. All right, and then these are going to live here and sit in the surface like this. Come out here. Let's see. They're a lot tinier in the reference that I'm using. So I'll go a little bit tiny because I don't want to go too small because, again, I'm 3D printing this. And I think they'll live, mine will live more here. And then I'm going to duplicate it. So there's more than one. And I'm going to hold Control key and unmask this. And then this needs to be moved up now. There. There. So now I have that done. Beautiful. Oh, spare. Let's save it next. I saw another question come through. Okay, new question. Multiple view windows in ZBrush for iPad. No, it's not possible even on the desktop. We don't have multiple view camera views because ZBrush is software rendering. It actually is not using a video card. So there's just certain things that we've been doing and what we've done. So there is multiple view. There's another view on the desktop, but not from what you want that you're used to, especially you coming from Blender. No, there's not multiple views. So when you want to snap to orthographic, while you're rotating, you just hold the Shift key and it'll snap to orthographic, or you can grab this head and these snap in 3/4, or obviously orthographic. So if that's what you're looking for, that's what you can do, but there isn't multiple cameras. Because if we made multiple cameras, then we got to render both always, right? Resourcing wise on a CPU. We're not using a video card to send resources to. And on the iPad as well, we're not using a video card. You can use an iPad as an external display with an Apple. As long as you're all Apple, the iPad can actually, you can drag stuff from your desktop onto your iPad and vice versa. There's ways to do that on a all Apple's device. It's got to be all Apple though. Any recommendation? Never figured out how to draw a straight line with Damien Standard. Okay. Also, I have the same problem with pen mask brush. Like, I can't draw a straight line with it. Okay. All this is pretty simple to do for sure. Let's just use this cube that we've got. Okay, I am going to divide this up a little bit. Let's get some topology. And now we'll divide up enough. Okay, so the Damien Standard brush. Okay, when you're using it, right, let's go with the bigger draw size. You're doing this, right? And you want a straight line. So there's multiple ways to do this. Okay, the first one is if you have lazy mouse on. Okay, lazy mouse is all about controlling when your hand's moving a little bit while you're making a stroke. We try to make that line actually be smooth. It's something we invented. Okay, so this line, see, I can make a straight line. So right now, lazy mouse is on automatically for this brush. So you can make straight lines. And what lazy mouse is, again, it's here in the stroke palette. It is about allowing you to, when you make a stroke, try to keep, in essence, we don't start drawing the stroke until a certain point, right? And then there's smoothing and other things that are happening here. So as long as lazy mouse is on, okay, this is for any brush, okay, it doesn't matter what brush it is, really any sculpting brush that can use lazy mouse. Once you click on the surface, if you hold the Shift key, you can draw out a straight line, okay? And then I can even continue. I'm not taking my mouse up, and then I'm just lifting and unlifting the Shift key in essence. Okay, so I can make any shape here that I want, like this. So again, I'm clicking on the surface first, then holding the Shift key. Now if you start dragging, you're going to get a line, 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 line. That's what you're going to get. Okay? So this is what you want to play with, is this. Okay, and you have a radius. Okay, which then if you have a radius turned up, you get the green line. And this allows you to snap perfectly to 0, 45, or 90, right? So now I can go this, go to this, and then go to any degree. Those numbers are degrees, right? So I can say 45 and boom. you need to turn up, you just need to turn up this radius. And he's got it, Damien made it with 1. I don't know why he has the radius of 1. That was a decision he made. So just turn that up, and then you'll get also the guiding lines to do this. Okay, so this is one way you could go about doing it. Another way is with Lazy Mouse 2, but using the backtrack instead. So if you turn this on, you turn on these other options, and then one option you're going to have is line, which is in essence make a straight line. Okay, and so now you can draw out a line first, see where you want to go, and then draw across. So you can see it's not straight, right? Because I'm living within that stroke. So what I want to also turn on is this snap the track portion. So if you want to take a snapshot of this, this is what you can do. And then now you can save this brush out, right? You could save this out and call this now Dame Standard LM for Lazy Mouse or something like that. And then you can always call that brush and use it over and over and over again. And then you're off and running, right? It's up to you. So now when I click and do this, no matter where my cursor, see the red, no matter where it is, it will only draw on the line that I did. And now the reason why I'm highlighting this one is this also has a path. You guys can actually draw a path first that you want, and then the brush will now follow the path. So this is also possible with you using the Lazy Mouse and the backtrack. I'm assuming this is what you were looking for. You said you wanted to make a straight line. That is how you could do it. That's the fastest and easy way with the Damien Standard to do it. That's how I would do it if I wanted a straight line. Kevin, you're too kind, my man. You're the best guy. All right, so where was that question? Okay. Unknown Outlaw. Nice. Let me know if that answers your question. And then with the pen mask, it's the same thing. However, we switch brushes. So you got to look at when you launch ZBrush, you have like 5 brushes selected automatically. Okay, and we did this on purpose so that you can work as fast as possible. Right? That's why we did this. I don't want to have to go switch to a brush and switch to a brush and switch to a brush. Like we have a keyboard, so let's use the keyboard to our benefit. So when you hold control, you're switching to a masking brush. When you let go of control, you have a sculpting brush. When you hold shift, you've got a smoothing brush. When you do control and shift, you now have like a selection brushes or any of your slicing brushes. Okay, so right there, there's already 4 different brushes. I did say 5. Okay, and for me, the 5th one's one of my favorites, and it's the one I use the most. Also using these hotkeys. So I'm going to just load a demo head here. And then let's get close in here. Okay, so when you hold the shift key and you smooth in an area, right? This is almost like it's Superman. Like it's smoothing and pushing on the surface as if I could move the wall, move the surface. That is what's happening here, okay? But if I wanted to, if I hold shift key and then let go of shift key, and you can see even though I'm in the same area, it's not pushing on the surface. It's more of like a relaxing of the surface. So this is the 5th brush that is actually selected. So again, you've got a sculpting brush, you've got a masking brush, you've got a selection brush or a clipping or a knifing brush, right? You got a smoothing brush and then a secondary smoothing brush. So for you, why we also did this is the brush system in ZBrush is huge and it's extremely powerful. There's a lot of stuff you can do. And when ZBrush was first developed, we kind of had an issue a lot of times where we were switching between a masking brush and a shift brush, things like this. But any controls that you had within the brush palette, in essence, all the things that you can do here with brushes, all right, in here or a stroke, it was always the same. So what I meant by that is when I sculpted, okay, and to you, you probably would like this for your scenario. So we've been doing Damien Standard, right? And if we turn on that Lazy Mouse like this, right? When I did the masking brush, it would also have that Lazy Mouse on. And this became an issue actually, more than a benefit. So what we did is when we did version 4, we ripped them apart. And so what we did is we allowed you to have every brush have its own ton of settings. So in essence, I can make different types of masking brushes, different type of smoothing brushes, different type, whatever, right? They weren't coupled together. All the settings weren't like a global setting across all types of the brushes. We kind of ripped it out and said, hey, let's make different types of masking brush and things like this. So when you want a straight line, okay, the thing you got to understand, when I hold control, the UI is all updating interface. All the stroke palette's updating, the brush palette's obey, texture's updating, alpha's updating. All this is updating because I'm literally switching to a different brush. So what you want to do is when you're holding the control key with masking pen, you want to now hold control and turn on lazy mouse for this. Okay, so now I have lazy mouse when I let go. I have it on for the Damien standard. I hold control, I have it on for this. Now you guys have this. And again, you can do this. And then now, see, I'm just doing the shift key thing. And now you can do something like that, right? I'm assuming this is what you're looking for. Yes? So can you let me know if that's what you are looking for? Okay. This was coming from Unknown Outlaw, I think, right? Okay, yes. Okay, good. Let me know, let me know, Unknown Outlaw, if that's what you're looking for. Outlaw. Oh, sorry. Outlaw, not outlaw. My brain just finishing outlaw. Outlaw. My apologies. Unknown outlaw. How low can you go? How low can you go? Okay. I want to get a job in a game company as a 3D prop artist. Oh, that's okay. I'm trying to think of artists that I can think of. A good artist to recommend you that does pretty much a lot of props. There's not like there's so many now, and I can't. The environment pieces. Usually, a lot of environment people do a lot of props. David Lesperon. I haven't talked to that guy forever, but he's always been an amazing environment artist and making props and things like that. I'll see if I can find him. Well, make object, edit into shape. Okay. Okay, so to your question, it's I should reach out to Dave. It's been a long time, but he was a great environment artist. I don't know what he's up to. I don't know what's going on, where he is these days. But David always did some amazing artwork. Hold on, here's the chat. Like, just if you can get to this quality, in essence, he worked at Blizzard for years. I don't know where he is now. Again, I haven't talked to him forever. Okay, but he might still be at Blizzard. I'm not sure. Anyways, this is a person that you would want to go look at and say, okay, this is top level artwork that you want to go look at and you want to do, right? There's so many now. Hold on, and I'm sure people in the chat too. If you guys got artists that you want to recommend, I would throw it out there, right? I'm just trying to get my head wrapped around everything. I'm going blank. I'm trying to think of another artist, and I am going so blank on his name right now. I'm trying to remember now. But here, if we just go to something even like ArtStation, and you put props in, okay, let's drag this over. Okay, so this is props, right? So I would say stuff you want to like. This is a good piece, right? That is a good piece. That's something. What Chris has done there, that's a good piece. There's another one, Alex Tang. Like, this is the kind of stuff I would say really good, really strong pieces, really strong piece. I'd say that one. Okay, I would look at stuff like this. Okay, these are really professional level, strong pieces. And I'd say this is all you would need to do is, hey, can you make something like this? Can you make something like this? Right? If you want to go that, organic. Kevin, John Stone used to work at Epic Games. Like this kind of stuff. His environment pieces were really amazing. Let's see. Let's see if he's on here anymore. I don't see him on here anymore. Oh, there he is. Okay, Kevin Johnstone was also really good. So making just some amazing pieces. He's a senior. I think he's still at Epic Games. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to him in a while. But someone like that as well is a great resource for you. But I would just come to ArtStation, literally do what I just did. Just put props in here, and then your goal is, can I make a piece? Like, but if you're looking more like stylistic, like this person, then that's what you go with, right? It's also going to come down the studio you want to work for. Are you guys going? You're going more for a studio that is working on the Division? Or are you going to something that's working on Diablo? Because that's different. Like, that's a different view, okay? And then, or are you going for a stylistic thing, like, you know, like we had, like that one I had here. So I would do that. I would look at props that people are like, there, that's a stylistic one that Johanna did here, what she's done. That's a stylistic one as well right there, right? That's what you now want to figure out. Look at this. Just do props. Get it to levels like that you see here, especially people that are in the game field, right? Like if you're going to the gaming world, like this is an artist that worked on the game, Cyberpunk. So go look at that. Go click that artist and take a look at their work. That's what I would do to get you going, okay? Let me see the chat. Home. Okay, so does that help? Establish some things. Obviously, ZBrush Central has stuff too. I would say just visit this. There's people constantly putting things on here. I mean, like there's a prop right there, right? And then everybody on here is 100% using ZBrush. There's somebody's using ZModeler right there to make that truck. That's all ZModeler. You've got ability to make be top row. We have staff picks. There's, oh look, here's a, stop it. Here's a Gundam. Near and dear to my heart. Yes. Look at that. Nicely done. Well done. All the models we're going to gain insights. Thanks for the project. This is fantastic. Let's make a comment here. This is fantastic. Did you do it all with ZModeler? You know, reach out to people, man. Get to know. Here's a, in fact, here's one right here that we made top row as well. So this, right? See, that's an arm, right? You can check it out. It was done in ZBrush. So, right? There's a lot of really amazing stuff that's being done. So, those are some great sites for you to go to. Okay? Back to this. Back to this. Okay. So I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I think I'm good with then everything now on the bottom there. I would say it needs some kind of, all right, ringed shape here. Okay, let's start moving it up. Start figuring this out. I kind of like that, so I'm going to do that. So I'm now going to take this piece. Let's take this. All right. I'm going to split this one off. No, splitter. I want to do. No, let's duplicate. And then let's delete the hidden decisions. The tough decisions. Delete the hidden of this. Okay, I like this. Let's flatten this straight. So I'm going to use the clipping curve to do this. Whoops. Sorry about that. I'm just going to save it next. So I've done a save. All right, and I am going to do straight across. I want it straight. Okay, I want this centered. Something like this. And then it needs to be pushed back. Sticks out. And then it needs to be a little bit bigger. Not a ton bigger, just a little bit. Okay, something like that. And then I would say Okay, I see. Okay, let's now look at this. We are going to, let's see, what do we want to do here? Let's make, I'm trying to think what I want to do here now. You know what? Let's get rid of this. Let's do this. Shift D. Okay, let's go to Brush C Modeler. Let's delete this edge loop so we just have that. So everything's straight and nice. Let's go do some polygrouping now. Let's do flat island. Okay, so let's do that. Top part, we'll do this so you guys can see. Okay, and then this part, we can just keep purple, make it fast. We can just do that. We'll keep all that purple. All right, let's go ahead and not smooth it. Let's just keep it like so. Let's keep it like that. Let's accept this. And now let's remesh this. Okay, so I'm going to Z-remesh this. Let's start with 1,000 polygons. Let's keep groups. Let's make it symmetrical. Let's remesh this. Okay, there. All right, good. Okay, let's go ahead and drop it down to 100 now and remesh it now. There. Okay, so let's take this edge. Let's completely crease this edge. Let's take this edge. Let's do a mask, complete edge loop, and then inverse, center it on the masked portion, and let's straighten it out. Let's do that. And right now, I don't need this, or this. Let's just do that. Okay, and then we're going to do this. We're going to crease this so we get something like that. Let's now undo this. And then now this needs to live back like that. And I don't think it sits that high now. No, it does not. It doesn't even come close to sitting that high. So let's do this first. Let's put the height where I want it to sit. Something more like that. And then now let's just push this back. So we get something more like this. And then let's center this and make it be just a bit bigger. Something like that. Let's do that. And then let's think about what way I want to do this. I guess let's go this route with it. Let's do an inset, polygroup all. Let's do an inset like this. And then I'm going to do an insert. Let's not do halfway though. Let's do like right around there. Then I'm going to delete. And so I got a beveling. So I get that. I want that. And then let's crease all of this. And then now we need our crease level on this one back down to 2, so it softens it up. And then now this is what we have. Let's see what we got here. Let's bring this out more. Something like that. Let's go something like that. And I'm going to say, let's save this. And let's do a deformer. Let's make it symmetrical. Let's maybe add right there. And then let's bring these in a little bit more. Let's live more like that. Something like that. Okay. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Okay, let's go back to this. All right, and then this one, we're gonna probably need to remesh this one too, because I want to put a little bend on this, because this has got definitely a little bend and a cupping even happening. So we need more topology here. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, so we're going to, let's split this off now. And let's split it away from that. Okay, and let's make this the working one now. Let's do the same thing with here. Let's do some polygrouping. So we'll make that a new polygroup. We'll make these a new polygroup. Tapping the Alt key changes that. And then let's make this a new polygroup. So now we got new polygroups. I want to get rid of the poles because I want to use this to my benefit. So let's go ahead and remesh. Let's apply it. Let's apply the dynamics. Okay. Then I'm going to, we can delete, just, it doesn't matter. I don't really need to delete. So then we're going all the way. Let's do 1,000 first. Let's keep the groups. This, and then now I want to look at this. And I want a shift to happen at a certain area. Okay, and I'm going to need roundness. And I'm going to need some flat. Okay. So we are going to really figure this out. Okay. Round. Okay. Tough to tell. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. I'm just looking at something that I want to do here. Because it needs some roundness in there. What time is it? Okay. So first things first, it flattens. It's got to flatten. Okay, but I might just use Live-Boolean now just to keep things simple for me. Honestly. I might just do that. Might be something I want to do. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's switch to this. Let's switch to this. Let's do a slice circle. Let's do some dynamics and apply and then delete. So we got, I don't want to go that dense. Oops. Oops. All right. Let's remesh this. Okay, we don't want this many. I think 2 will probably be enough. Yes, that's enough. And then now, oh, I want to make a perfect circle. So I'm going to go to the stroke, square and centered. Then we're going to come in here. And then I'm going to line this up more like this. Okay. So now what I'm going to have left with is this and this. Okay, so let's auto group this. Well, there's also, I could use ZModeler. Okay. And all I want is this piece. I want that. That's what I want. Okay, and right now, I also want to get rid of this top portion. So let's slice, 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 slice. Where are you? Slice curve. Let's make this be straight. So we get something more like that. Let's go ahead and delete hidden. Okay, so now I have this. Let's definitely add some dynamic now to this. Let's just use dynamics. Let's do no smoothing, but let's add some thickness to it. Okay, so we got some wonky triangles in here. Okay, so let's see what our remesher will give us. Okay, not bad. Okay, I don't like it rounding. I don't want it to round. Okay, we got something here. All right, so let's see what dynamic looks like now. Okay, dokie, that's much better. All right, and let's go ahead and apply that. Then we'll make that its own polygroup. We'll keep that its own polygroup. That's its own polygroup, its own polygroup. Now let's remesh. There we go. That is a much better piece of topology to manipulate and play with, for sure. Okay, so now we come out of this. This is what we're looking at. All right, and I think of, okay, where's this at? Okay, so this comes forward, and then it curls. Okay, so we're going to make this polygroup. So we're going to end up probably getting rid of most of this. So let's find out. Let's take this one. We're going to mask this off. So all we have is this. Okay, so what I really care about right now are these two polygroups. I don't care about anything else right now, so let's delete hidden. Let's make sure we take this. And so what this does is it comes out from the top and then kind of curls out. So let's do that with a deformer. I think would be the best approach for this. So let's go back to a deformer. All right, I want this centered, I want this, but this time let's only do let's just do from there. Okay, and so now let's also add, I think, 2 more this way. Okay, so let's unmask these white points so every other point's masked off. And I'm going to bring this forward, like so. Okay, how forward does it come? Okay, it does hide that. So I want to come enough forward. Let's turn on display properties double. Looks like we might be good. I want to be probably right up front of this. Okay, that's good. Then we want these two to come forward a little bit, and then this one to come forward a little bit more. Just put a little bit of a curvature in there. I guess it's a little bit more extreme, I guess. Let's go with something like that. Okay. Now, let's fix this up. Let's make this and grow out one. Control W. We'll make that a new polygroup. Okay. And then now we can polish this a little bit, I think. We'll look and see where we're at. I'm going to add some topology to this. Just finding if I want to think about what I want to do with this. Okay. It's pretty. Let's do polish by groups. See what we get here. Don't like that. Oh yeah, I didn't get this right either. Let's do this. Just figure out how I want to do this piece, this part. It's going to be the fastest way. Quick question. I like to use dynamic subdiv with micropoly options. Is there any way to generate new models by chance to be used in micropoly list? Yeah, 100%. You can add your own micropolys. Yes, you can do your own micropolys. Okay. Hey, Michael Hunsinger. I haven't seen you in a long time. Yes, this is like a lattice deformer. Yeah. Okay, so hold on, let me save this where I'm at. First off. I'm going to sculpturally let's do this. Okay. All right. You were asking about micropolys. Yes. Okay. So, first of all, what are micropolys? So everyone else is on the same page. So micropolys is a way for us to put topology on meshes, right? That actually is not there. It's kind of like an instancing system. So it's built in our dynamics, okay, as a whole. So let's get a plane that's not so dense. Yeah, let's go with just something like this right now. Okay. So when we do this, we are telling ZBrush to swap out every polygon with another mesh, which is the micropoly. So in here, when you say turn on micropoly, you get all of these, right? So now when I press this, you see the plane, everything gets that, but it's geometry. It is not like a sculptural thing. So you can click any one of these, and then you can get the topology. So every polygon face is now being swapped out with one of these. So the key thing when you're making a micropoly, and I'm gonna tell you, they're gonna make your head hurt. In fact, I made a project that helped me make perfect micropolys. In all honesty, it's something that I ended up doing. That could be really, really useful for you. Okay, I'd have to try and find it. I don't know where it is anymore. So all these is, and then it's all I'm really playing though when I do this is I'm playing with 4 polygons. I'm actually not playing with the micropolys. And so even dynamic wise, if I turn this up to like 5, you see we just populate and make more micropolys because we're dividing the surface in like a memory. So this is going to divide. Okay, so you're going to have something like this. So this smooth divisions, as you change this, you get more or less of them, right? So this is 1, 2, 3, so forth and so on, right? And so there's a couple things you can do. Number 1, you can actually rip the micropolys out. So if you want any of these micropolys, okay, you can rip them out. So I want to rip this out, okay, and like grab one. That's what I want, right? I can see right here now in the tool palette, I've ripped it out, and then this is the micropoly. So again, these things are going to make your head hurt sometimes because you want symmetry in both vertical and horizontal. So what you're trying to do is when you're making these, you're trying to think like this, like, hey, this is going to repeat forever this direction, and then it's also going to repeat forever this direction, and then I want this to just continue and continue and continue like this. You got to build it with this in your mindset, right? So How am I ripping these out? Number one. So if you want to rip any of these out and kind of edit them, when this is open, if you hold the Alt key and then tap on any one, we'll make a new tool for you. And then there's your micropolys. They live. This is where they are now. And so now you have this. Okay? If you want to add one, so let's do, here, let's move, let's change symmetry. Let's change this one up a little bit so it looks at least different visually. Now let's not go that crazy. All right, so it's a little different here, okay? So now we come back here, and now I want to add that, okay? If you hold the control key and tap on the icon, we now go back to the tool palette and say, hey, let me grab the tool palette, and now I can grab this, and then there's the micropoly that I'm grabbing from the tool palette. So you can rip out ones, edit it, do whatever you want, and if you got anything in the tool palette, anything in the tool palette could become a micropoly. But what you really want is you want everything to line up perfectly, horizontal and vertical. And by the way, these are just tools. So you can make your own and save them out in tool, and then you can put them in the folder that this is looking at. And this is looking at a particular folder. And what that is looking at is, let me get my thing out. Okay, and let me, applications. Okay, and then data. Okay, so I'm just getting to it so you guys can see it. Here you go. All right, this is where it's living. So in your ZBrush 2026 folder in this case, so this is ZBrush 2026.2.1 that I'm in. That's the version number we're at for 2026. You now want to go to ZData, and then there'll be a micropoly folder. This is what our default micropoly is looking at. So you can see they're just ZTL. So you can even load these from here. You don't have to do the trick I showed you. You can load them from here, right? I can right click this, open with, and then I'm in this version, and then there's the weave. There you go. Okay, so you can save any tool out and put it in there, and then the micropoly, nice, I like where you're going with that, funny, Rodolfo. The micropoly can live there. So you can use your Alt key, your Control key, or you can make them and put them in that actual box, right? Eventually here, right, we're gonna add them into your tool, into your light box, because now there's a light box that's a Maxon light box, and there's now a user light box. So there's different types of light boxes now too. But that's your micropoly. Okay? Does that make sense? Is that good for you? Hopefully that helps and gets you to know what you could do. Where is my piece? There it is. Okay. Let me look at this. Definitely a bevel. It's really tough to see, so I'm just going to start making some things up. I need a magnifying glass. Back here, let me take a picture of this so that I can zoom in on my camera. It's really tough to make out what's there. Even with this, it's like really random things. Okay. All right. Fine. Okay. I see some randomness in here. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to start blocking all this stuff out. So let's start taking this. I want this brush, whoops, not V, brush Z modeler, come in here. We're going to insert, I'm going to do it with a creased edge. I want my creased edges. So I'm going to go right from there. Then I'm going to do another one right here. Then I'm going to just delete. I think I'm going to go a little bit bigger. Let's go. Let's slide this out a little bit more and slide this down a little bit more. So now we have that. Let's go a little bit bigger. I'm going to exaggerate that more. I kind of just like it. All right. Let's look at our subtools right now. So this, let's see, this and this, okay. This. So if we make this a start group, okay. I'm also blocking things out in there. So let's move this up. Let's move that up. I don't want it to happen to that. I don't want it to happen to those. Those. I do want it to happen now from here. Okay. So my sub pieces. Let's now. I don't want it to happen. Okay, so we should be fine. Let's do this. Let's do this. I want a cube. Okay, I need creasing. And one of these days, I'll just create shortcuts that make sense. This needs to be a lot smaller. And we're going to go longer. And then this needs to collide with this. Okay, so looks like I've got this stuff sitting out too far too. Yeah. Do. Okay, and then it should come down here further. And it's going to create a flat. How flat is this? Okay, I think I got it up a little too high. It's close. Let's see. I think this needs to go up a little bit more. Okay. Yeah, okay, let's try that. Okay, and then I want this to live here. Because then now this, which has got, I want the sub one. Let's duplicate that. Let's only have this. Let's delete hidden. All right. And then this one is also going to be a subtract. It's going to live down here, live here, and I want it to be right here. And just subtract only this one. So we're getting that. And this, bring it down a little bit more. More in there. Okay, and then now this one. Have it live more in that world. Okay, and then this is sitting out way too far. This needs to sit way closer. More in that realm. And then now this one. now needs to sit more in there. Let's dynamically do this so we have this dynamically on so we can just kind of start seeing what this is doing. I'm going to do something more like that since it's got to be 3D printed. I'm going to bring this out more. So, hold control. And let's just bring it out a little bit more. Just a little bit more volume. There we go. Okay. Save next. Okay. What up, Rodolfo? Okay, so we're making some traction here on the back. Making some things happen. I unfortunately have to get going here soon because I need to go pick up my little daughter. She's at a camp and I gotta head out and go pick her up. Right, there's definitely some other elements here. Let me go with the image on my phone. It's a lot better. Photos. And let's see. Okay, yeah. Some kind of cubic shape. Okay, so let's just quickly add those. Okay, got a cubic shape and then another shape. Let's add that so we can see if my scaling here is right or not. Looks like I actually need to take more of it away. Oh yeah, I think it's a bigger chunk. Okay. So I think I do need to move this up a little bit more. More in there. And then this one also just a little bit more. More like that. Okay, and these, okay, so we're gonna center. Let's center. Let's hide this so that I can center like that. And then now let's duplicate this. This needs a cube. All right, a lot smaller of a cube. It's about there. It's about there. It's about that wide. That looks pretty good. I can go a little bit wider, I think. Something more like that. Perfecto. Okay. Hold on, modify. We're gonna do this. Okay, we're gonna flip it. We're gonna mirror it. And then we'll do a mirror and weld. So again, on both sides, same thing. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna go with that. Then I'm going to add a little bit extra to this. I'm going to go with, I'm going to insert an edge loop here. And then I'm going to insert an edge loop here. And I want to get rid of this. Whoops. Let's do a Q mesh, single polygon. Let's get rid of it. And then let's bring it back out. There we go. We can crease all of this. Okay. And then I am going in for the insets, flat island. All right, let's go with, can the snapping give me this? Okay, so let's go with equidistance the standard way. Something like that. And then now we insert. And then now we delete. And now we got something more like that. Just a little bit more interesting for me. And then I need one more shape. Then I need another shape. Okay, so now let's grab this. Let's mask everything else off but that. And once again, let's duplicate. All right, I'm gonna make it a new shape. Crease it. Needs to come down here, here. Needs to live there. World right around there. A lot smaller. Okay. Weld that over. All right, so we need an edge loop. Okay, I'm gonna do an edge loop. Let's solo this out. We're gonna do an insert edge loop here. Then let's do Q mesh, polygroup this out here, and then it has an angle. Let's go with that angle. Crease all, and then this is what we got. Theirs is also way more extreme. Okay. So there's these come in way more. Right? And then this also comes in a lot more. Oops. Okay, not that much. That's a little too much. There. And have it sit up higher. A little bit more. Do. I'll go right about there. I will know more about this once I get it a little bit closer with the other elements. Okay, so I also want this masking complete edge loop. I want this to sit a lot higher. Maybe more like that. Okay, good enough for now. There we go. It's sitting out too far though. I don't need it out that far. Saving. What's going on here? How do I have more than one? Huh. Oh. I was like, why is it not moving? Alright, I think I'm going to go more right around there. For now, we'll stick with that. Alright, let's save. Save next. Unfortunately, I got to get going, everybody. So thank you for joining. I will be streaming next Friday. Same bat channel, same bat time. So hopefully you guys can join me in my stream next week. Again, keep plugging away on this slow process because I'm talking and doing at the same time, right? So, but we'll keep moving. We'll get there. I'll get there. All right. So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate that and being a part of the show. Really been great to have you here. So I am Paul Gaboury with ZBrush Max on, and